I don't really think of myself as a jazz player or fusion, or I'm just a rock guitar player that likes other stuff. I'm aware of everything I can play, well, not everything, but I'm aware of what I can play over that and what I can't play over that. And usually the stuff I can't play is way cooler, you know? The stuff that doesn't work, or the tension notes, or the way to break the rules is a little bit more exciting. For example, when I was growing up, my dad listened to a lot of Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath, Pink Floyd. King Crimson's a different animal, but a lot of music where lead guitar, like blues, kind of rock guitar was the main thing. So if I heard, I might hear, even though that playing is it's just like bluesy and there's a lot of authority in it, I thought that was the sound of rock guitar. I'm like, that's the lead guitar, cool. At some point, and I started playing guitar when I was about 14 years old. So at some point, we were in the car, and I may have heard it without knowing what it was, or without having my instrument around. I may have heard something like this, which in relation to that B is very, it sounds like this. Look at the third in there, we got the fifth there. It sounds wrong, especially if you're playing, and all of a sudden you hear it. But it's still harmony, it still adds up to something. So why was I hearing that? And I think at some point I was just ready to hear something different. My ear was growing at a rate where I was listening to a lot of different music, and at some point, this is now what you're hearing against that chord. It may have been for a long time this, the root, or it may have been the third, let's say, or even the fifth, just really hearing, or hearing the 9, but all these notes that are in key. Then at some point hearing maybe even the flat 5. That was like the money note I was after. And I was never thinking of it as a chromatic note or a wrong note or a different note. It was just something I was hearing, just a sound rubbing against another sound. And after I figured out what that was and figured out how to maybe use it, or what scale it came from, or what chords you could then build with it, I just explored that as much as I possibly could. So I was playing over a minute ago this riff. It's just... My music, most of it, the chords that I'm using are pretty much major, minor, maybe dominant, maybe diminished, but it's pretty triad based because I like to leave myself enough room to kind of do whatever I want. So if it's a major chord, like Remarkable Human, that first song I played, I'll show you the progression to that. It's like E minor, it's a C minor chord. This one's got a bit more information in it. There's a 6 and a 7 in it. And a G chord, F sharp, F, E minor, A, C, E flat, E. That sounds like a bad Christmas song or something. If I did an A chord with a D in it, like a sus chord. And one more example, just because it's probably getting really annoying right now. A minor to G minor. None of those were what I wanted, so ultimately it became A minor, or E minor, to B flat. Because B flat still has that D note in it. It's the third of that versus something in the key of E minor. And it's cool because the pitch is still there and your ear's kind of accepting the pitch, but what's happening beneath it is like, oh, something interesting. And then it's easy enough to kind of go back in key. Then so it kind of jumps in and out of key just because of how I'm viewing the pitch, or the chord against the pitch. And that could have been anything. I could have gone on for, like if I had another good example would be Atomic Mind. That note there, that's basically B minor. But the second chord goes B flat. It could have also been E7, augmented. We could always just take it out of the room. There's always that too, I guess, but here we are. Anyways, the point is, it could have been whatever I wanted, just if I thought of the chord as outside versus the note. So it's something to think about. And I also just love bending. And sometimes you can bend up to a major seventh against a minor third, or something awkward, and then bring it back down, or the next chord being something a little bit more in key. And then other than that, it just comes down to how I'm feeling at any given time, of course, right? Like you play something different. You might just hear something you've never played before. What the hell was that? And you break it down, and it turns out it was something really bizarre. And then you're like, I'm going to do that again next time.